I secretly moved out, and my parents had no idea until my dad showed up at my doorstep unexpectedly. You know what's crazy? Living a double life, where your own parents don't even notice you've moved to another state. Yeah, that happened to me. But the craziest part? When my dad called me one day, threatening to cut off my college funding, not knowing I was already crushing it with a 6-figure salary in my dream job. Hey, if you're watching this and thinking, what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you? Buckle up, friend. I've got a story that's gonna blow all others out of the water. It's the kind of tale where I outdo even Hermione Granger on a good day. Serious expression, no joke. Here's the part where I tell you about my life. I wasn't just any kid in the Smith household. I'm the human equivalent of a comfortable pair of slippers. My brother Roman, on the other hand, was quite literally the golden god of our family. Parenting 101 for my folks seemed to boil down to focus all attention on Roman, maybe occasionally notice if he's eating his veggies. I showed up, ate my veggies, and vanished into the background. Meanwhile, Roman required a dedicated team of cheerleaders to help him breathe. 'Cause, well, someone had to hold his hand through life. Now, I know what you're thinking. Poor guy, sounds like you had it tough. But trust me, after you've spent years perfecting the invisible act, you start to take pride in being the ultimate background extra. Our family gatherings? I was the unsung hero, ensuring the drinks weren't running low, the room was warm, and the good china was magically used on all the right occasions. Roman, however, was the darling of the show. Fast forward to high school, and our role reversal continued. While Roman juggled an extracurricular schedule that put Bieber's entourage to shame, I focused on mastering coding, sneaking into virtual IT labs to practice under an officially disassociated from internet account, totally innocuous, I assure you. My clandestine endeavors also involved securing a generous college scholarship for services rendered. Long story short, while Roman needed extensive math tutoring, grade A+ on his excuse for getting straight A's, I got to work on more complex things like writing better meta-marketing keywords. So, my hook-like behavior in the script, where I told you the beginning of my sibling rivalry remains just one item in a set of comedic things in my collection that is really not to be defined as such after I begin explaining the story. Now, bear with me. You'll soon find out just how weird my high school history drama unfolded. Growing up in the Smith household wasn't exactly what you'd call normal. See, I was basically the human equivalent of wallpaper. Always there, but never really noticed. My brother Roman, different story. He was the golden child, the center of our family's universe. Every breath he took was apparently worthy of a standing ovation. I'm the human equivalent of wallpaper, always there, but never really noticed. My brother Roman, that's a different story altogether. He was the golden child, the center of our family's universe. Every breath he took was apparently worthy of a standing ovation. I often wondered if they'd ever take their gasps of admiration down a notch, but it never seemed to happen. Growing up, it was like living in a world where I existed solely to fuel Roman's ego. My parents' grand narratives usually started with, and then, when Roman achieved such and such, the whole household celebrated, and we took a family photo. Oh, who was the kid with the freckles in the corner, you ask? Yeah, that was my life in the background. It's not like I was complaining or anything. Being the invisible child had its benefits. I got to practice my ninja skills, for instance. The creme de la creme of our family gatherings? Roman getting an A on a particular math test, and the room erupts into cheers, whereas I got straight A's and the kitchen door swung open with the sound of takeout orders being yelled from the pantry. Nice try, invisible child. Meanwhile, our family gatherings swiftly turned into Roman Fest. His birthday was summer solstice. His milestone achievements reeked of life celebration mode. Honestly, who needed a holiday season? I'd attend Thanksgiving dinner at his place with a new 3D printer and have him hold the ceremonial ribbon cutting, bless my soul. Roman would often arrive home sweating, yet miraculously always arriving in a car better representing our family's fiscal standing. Dad loves his new shoes too. And suddenly, that day felt like it dawned anew. My, oh me, thought Mommy, proudly, as a hastily remembered incident showcased. Despite this ongoing theater performance, I still endured their complete dissociation from me, hence my incredible memory didn't mind storing away the inconsequential details. Every midnight snack as leftovers, every Sunday movie with Mom's crochet together with everything else in life. Believe me, I found solace in imagining Shakespeare's most dramatic theater performances. Meanwhile, that I remained in the undercurrent of visible memories didn't escape us. Still, the persistent absence presented me a golden opportunity. Working diligently, I started planning to step away. What used to feel invisible made me determined to fight. And that, eventually, changed the course of many lives. Think about this. Every family gathering, every holiday, every random Tuesday. It was the Roman show, plain and simple. I was more of a background dancer, pretending to be the invisible extra that only existed when nobody else was looking. My parents' grand narratives usually started with, "And then, when Roman scored a goal in the soccer tournament, the whole household celebrated, and we took a family photo." Oh, who was the kid with the messy knees in the corner, you ask? Yeah, that was me, the Roman proxy. It was challenging not to get assimilated into Roman's grand ego machine. If his toy spilled over, it meant every toy in the room spilled over. If he fell down the stairs and broke his collarbone, every family function was canceled. We sometimes wonder now and laugh, how would our world even change without those magnificent tantrums? I was more of a ghost in the family, silently observing from the periphery, always putting on a smile to support Roman's participation trophies. So much so that every social gathering became Roman's performance art show, a carefully curated theatrical experience to boost his self-confidence. Yet behind the scenes, I was secretly trying to survive on meager snacks, like trail mix made up of peanuts from leftover baby shower celebrations and expired potato chips. Yum! We'd compare family stories like an endless battle for most creative mom-made dish recipe. My aunt made fried chicken with anchovies once. Oh yeah, my mom. And of course, Roman's the one getting top billing, because, yeah, that's how it is when you grow up in a family like ours where only one person made it is all the rage. It really sucked when all this led to kids asking Roman to show off his Lego structures, but nobody knowing my handcrafting impenetrable fortresses made from recycled plastic straws all day. While all this unfolded, my hidden superpower of learning always quietly thrived. Now imagine being the kid in a family of performers who's been told every year, "You just missed out this year," at our huge annual talent show. When really it was, we always just moved on to the next family gathering, where our mother cooked 35-layer lasagna. Every year felt like Groundhog Day, until your name was eventually etched in the legendary Wall of Fame, not exactly where, but in someone's private journal. The thing about being ignored is that you get really good at being independent. While Roman needed help tying his shoes until he was 12, I'm not even joking, I was teaching myself coding and applying for scholarships behind the scenes. Then came the moment that changed everything. I got accepted to MIT with a partial scholarship. Dream school, right? But when I showed the acceptance letter to my parents, you know what they said? But Roman might feel bad if you go to a better school than him. They actually wanted me to attend state community college instead, just so my brother's ego wouldn't get bruised. I'm not gonna lie, getting accepted to MIT was like winning the college lottery. I mean, it's not every day you get to join the ranks of the intellectually elite and stuff. But for my parents, it was more of a mixed bag. When I showed them the acceptance letter, they were less than thrilled. Roman, on the other hand, was probably more excited about the possibility of having a sibling who finally had something to rival his greatness. I mean, think about it. If I were going to MIT, he might have to settle for a slightly less impressive college. My parents, however, were a bit more creativity challenged. When I told them I got a partial scholarship, they put on this weird look. You know, the kind where they're trying to appear supportive while simultaneously judging you for somehow not getting the full ride. And then, here's the kicker. My dad dropped this bombshell. Actually, we were thinking it would be better if you just went to state community college. My jaw hit the floor. I swear I almost spit out my lunch. What? Why? I asked, trying to keep a straight face. Well, you see, Roman might feel bad if you go to a better school than him, Dad replied, completely seriously. Yeah, because that's exactly what my brother was worried about, not feeling inferior to his lesser sibling. I mean, it's not like he had a superiority complex or anything. Oh wait, that's exactly what he had. I tried to explain to my parents that MIT was a really big deal, but they just wouldn't budge. It was like they were secretly trying to sabotage my education, or maybe just my self-esteem. I mean, come on, MIT is like the Harvard of engineering schools. You'd think they'd be, like, totally stoked for me. In the end, I had to make a tough decision. I could either accept my parents' weird suggestions and waste 2 years of my life on a subpar education, or I could, take what I truly deserved and shock the heck out of them with my awesomeness. That was my breaking point. I decided right then that I was done being the family ghost. I accepted MIT's offer, but here's the kicker. I told my parents I was attending the local college. They were so focused on Roman's community theater performances that they never even asked to see my dorm room. The moment of truth had finally arrived. I was done being the invisible child, and I was ready to take control of my life. I remember the day I decided to leave like it was yesterday. I mean, who needs a family that doesn't notice you, right? So I started making plans for my epic escape. I booked a one-way ticket to MIT, pretended to study for my community college exams, and orchestrated the perfect goodbye. When I told my parents I was taking a weekend trip to visit my aunt, they were totally buying it. Little did they know, my aunt was in on the secret, and I had a whole new life waiting for me in Boston. The best part of the whole operation was watching them try to figure out where I was. I mean, come on, I'm a genius and I made it look easy. I sent them fake text messages, complete with auto-corrected phrases like, I'm at the mall buying new shoes, and I'm at the library studying for my exams. But of course, they had no idea I was actually sipping coffee at the local diner with my MIT soon-to-be friends. The real piece de resistance was when they asked to video chat with me. Can you believe it? They actually thought they could just call me up and ask to see my face, like I was still their little invisible wallflower. I put on my best, confused expression and told them I was having connectivity issues. They bought it, hook, line, and sinker. Meanwhile, I was over in Boston, living my best life, attending lectures and making new friends who actually noticed me. I was like the ultimate chameleon, blending in seamlessly with the crowd, all while secretly harboring a desire to make my parents proud. But let's be real. Pride would have come a little late in the game, considering they never even asked to speak with me during my entire MIT tenure. It's funny because looking back, I realize how ridiculous everything was. My parents thought they were still living in a world where I was still the invisible child, quietly eating my veggies and wearing invisible socks. Newsflash, I outgrew those things, folks. I'm a proud 25-year-old MIT engineer with 6 figures and a whole new family to show for it. So no, Dad, your college funding ultimatum won't be a thing anymore. New life. I still can't believe I managed to execute the ultimate heist, moving out of my parents' house without them having a single clue. It's like I'm a ninja, but instead of stealthy moves and ninja stars, I've got boxes, a U-Haul truck, and the strategic skill to hide it all from my parents. It all started when my parents decided to go out of town for a weekend, Wisconsin Dells to be exact. For those who don't know, it's a bit of a long drive, about hours, but the minimal chance of running into locals who might accidentally spill the beans made it perfect timing. I researched all the best hiding spots in our house, studied my parents' weekend routines, and mapped out a detailed escape plan. By the time they left, I was about 50% packed and feeling more confident with every passing minute. Of course, this plan came with its own set of hilarious complications. I had to get creative when my sister asked me to borrow my vacuum cleaner. I told her it was broken, hoping she wouldn't notice it was cleaning out my old room in secret. My sister's obliviousness actually helped me secure my escape faster. While she thought she saw something unusual going on in the moving out truck, there was a more than sufficient distraction that was basically harmless: our aging cat asleep in the driver's seat. Who needs an accomplice when nature can help out? Once the truck was all loaded and basically only a few miles away from our house, I quickly put up some rubbish bin art around the entrance to mislead anyone who might stumble upon the big reveal. My phone flashed a notification, and I felt exhilarated. My parents had left town, and I had made my escape in under 24 hours. This felt amazing. Too bad, however, it was hardly over yet. From there, I just took it one step at a time. Changing the locks at the main entrance and the locks for the U-Haul were all necessary steps, because no one knew who was behind my sudden breakout. I could laugh and say it was a moment of fear and temporary insanity. My adrenaline levels prevented me from getting a good night's sleep that first week. I was anticipating a call from my mother with some quizzical expressions of concern. My heart racing, every little noise sounded like knocking was my worst nightmare. Then one evening I was lying on my couch completely exhausted, watching TV and resting when suddenly someone was knocking. This thought alone right away made my heart go flip, turned over suddenly, multiple flips in the short space of 1 second, like my heart was literally shaking in my chest, both literally. This pounding on the doors set off my fight or flight response, and suddenly what should have felt liberating and exhilarating over an entirely different feeling. As soon as I looked through my peephole, to my utmost surprise I saw my father standing right there. 1 week of freedom just getting me was cut short with one heavy pounding sound. Or so I thought. My father's reaction upon seeing my belongings stacked all around my room was equal to the amount of shock you would experience witnessing someone stumble in an air pocket. This is what it looked like. His response wasn't what I initially expected, completely opposite in fact. While I was expecting guilt or even questions about how he still didn't get the point of the whole move, what I got was his goofy grin. I still don't know how, but I couldn't help it. What started out so serious turned into laughs within 5 seconds. Thought for sure your mom and I would walk in on a completely devastated ruin of what was once your room, he said, bursting into laughter. But this rustic bedroom of a cave dweller you've created here is unlike anything I've ever seen. You're truly a first-class camper, Sonic the Hedgehog. Maybe it made sense, but looking like all his worldly belongings were stolen. In other words, all that was left were the chairs from table. While his voice shook with humor, I still chose to shut the door by nodding my head. I did not dare utter a single word about the entire ordeal. Life at MIT was like stepping into color after living in black and white. I graduated with honors, landed a job at a top tech company, and started making six figures before I turned 25. Meanwhile, my parents thought I was still working part-time at the local library while finishing community college. I picked up the phone, expecting it to be my mom's usual "sweetie, we love you" call. But nope, it was Dad, sounding all authoritative. "You need to come home for Roman's wedding." My brother, the golden child, was getting married to some doctor's daughter, and they needed the whole family there. I rolled my eyes, knowing this would be a long conversation. Sorry, Dad, but I don't think I can make it," I said, trying to sound as apologetic as possible. "Come on, it's a big deal," he exclaimed, trying to guilt-trip me. "It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to meet your future in-laws." I chuckled to myself, thinking, future in-laws? They're coming to break the bank, that's what. "Dad, I'm in the middle of a big project at work, and I really can't take the time off." But Dad wasn't having it. "That's exactly why you need to come back. You can take a break from work anytime. This is family, kiddo." I sighed, feeling a strong urge to scream. "You don't get it, Dad. I've been working hard for years and I've earned my freedom." But I kept my cool, trying to sound patient. "I appreciate you wanting me to come, but I really can't make it, and besides, I'm sure Roman will understand." Dad huffed, sounding like he was about to have a temper tantrum. "Roman understands nothing. He's a busy man and he needs his family by his side." I couldn't help but respond with a bit of snark. "Oh, poor Roman. His fragile ego can't handle not having me by his side. I'm sure his fiancé's family will just be devastated if I'm not there to fawn all over them." There was a brief pause on the other end, and for a moment I thought Dad was actually considering my words. But nope, he was back to his usual tactics. "You know what? You're just being selfish. We'll stop paying for your education if you don't come back and support your brother." I almost choked on my coffee. "Education? What education? I've been out of college for years, dude." But of course, I couldn't tell him that. Instead, I decided to dial up the absurdity. "Oh wow, I'm sure that's exactly what Roman wants, for his parents to abandon their financial obligations because he's getting married. That's totally normal family stuff, right?" Dad's voice tightened, and I could almost hear the gears turning in his head as he tried to come up with a comeback. But I was having too much fun. I carried on, trying to out-absurd him at every turn. "And what about the food? Will there be cake? Can you please tell me if there will be cake at this thing? I have a serious cake addiction." Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Dad threw in the towel. "Fine, don't come to the wedding. See if I care. But don't come crying to me when Roman gets divorced, in 6 months. I couldn't resist one last jab. "Ha! 6 months? That's optimistic, don't you think? I'm sure Roman will make it to a whole year before he starts chasing after his next trophy wife. Maybe we can get a countdown going on Twitter." I ended the call, feeling victorious but also a bit guilty. I knew Dad was just trying to be seen as the patriarch of the family, but honestly, he was having a field day with this whole situation. Still, I couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of it all. Who knew arguing with Dad could be so much fun? I stood in front of the camera, a mix of confidence and anxiety building up inside me. I had been dreading this moment for a long time. The moment I would finally tell my dad the truth about my life. I took a deep breath, gathered my thoughts, and began. "Dad, I graduated from MIT 2 years ago. I haven't needed your money since I was 19. The words felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I had been holding on to this secret for so long, and it was finally time to share it with the world. The camera caught my dad's reactions perfectly. The shock, the outrage, the embarrassment. It was like he had been punched in the gut, but instead of feeling sorry for him, I felt a sense of liberation. But the best part was yet to come. Dad tried to fire back with a series of increasingly absurd arguments, each one more ridiculous than the last. "You're just being selfish," he bellowed. "You're abandoning your family." I countered with a smirk. "You're the one who's been abandoning me, Dad. Abandoning me to the world of cardboard cutouts and fantasy families." The father-daughter drama unfolded like a scene from a soap opera, with each of us delivering one-liners that made the other stumble. "You're just a spoiled brat," he shouted, only to be met with, "You're the one who's been spoiled. For years, you've been feeding Roman's ego while ignoring me." It was like watching a tennis match, with each of us volleying back and forth until we were both exhausted and exhilarated. I was grinning from ear to ear, feeling like I was finally standing up for myself in a way I never thought possible. The whole room fell silent, except for the sound of Dad's ragged breathing. I couldn't help but notice that he was going a bit pale. almost as white as Roman's shoes on his wedding day. I couldn't help but chuckle at the memory. The camera caught everything. The sweat dripping down my dad's forehead, the look of alarm on his face, the embarrassed twitching in his fingers. It was like watching a train wreck. You didn't want to look, but you couldn't help yourself. And then, just when I thought the worst was over, Dad let loose again. "This is all your mother's fault," he exclaimed, attempting to turn the tables on my poor, unsuspecting mom. "She's always been the one encouraging you to pursue your dreams." I snickered to myself, remembering the countless times my mom had urged me to apply for MIT, to try out for NASA's internship program, to learn Python programming. It was like watching a failed magic trick. The more my dad tried to conjure up a better argument, the more ridiculous it all became. I decided to push my luck, delivering the final blow. "Dad, the truth is, I've been invisible to you people for years. I've been invisible to Roman's ego, invisible to your delusions, invisible even to your own sense of decency. But I'm not invisible anymore. I'm here, I'm real, and I'm not going anywhere. So either you get it, or you don't." And with that, I shut the camera off, and all of us stood there in stunned silence. Dad probably still trying to wrap his head around the fact that his daughter had outsmarted him once again. Roman, who'd been quietly watching the entire exchange from the sidelines, trying to figure out how to salvage his shattered ego, and me basking in the glow of finally being seen. "Sweetie, we miss you so much." My mom's sugar-sweet voice came through the phone. I know exactly what that tone means. It's like a warning bell that says, "We need something from you, sweetie." Thanks to my aunt's heads up, I knew what was coming. They didn't miss me. They missed having a backup plan. I decided to play along, because, well, it's always fun to see how ridiculous they can get. Mom, I miss you guys too," I cooed, trying to sound as innocent as possible. "Well, sweetie, your father and I were thinking, Roman's wedding is coming up, and we really need your help with the preparations." "Yeah, right, like I'm gonna help with the preparations. I'm about to give them a big no on their whole wedding guest list." "And what about the wedding dress? We were thinking you could help your sister-in-law pick it out." I choked on my coffee. Help pick out a wedding dress? Are they kidding me? I've never even met the woman. And what's with this sudden interest in my opinions? I let out a laugh, trying to roll my eyes even though they can't see me. "Oh, Mom, I'm not exactly an expert on wedding dresses. Maybe you should ask your new friend Sophia for advice." Sophia is her BFF, the woman she's been talking to non-stop about how she's going to make me regret not attending the wedding. "Sweetie, don't be like that. We just want your input on this wedding. It's going to be a big deal for the whole family." I raised an eyebrow. "Big deal?" "This wedding is going to be a train wreck. They're just putting a band-aid on their financial crisis, trying to salvage what's left of their social status." I went along with their plan, pretending to be interested in the wedding, all while mentally preparing myself for what I know is coming next, the part where they ask me to come back home and apologize for not attending. Well, sorry, Mom and Dad, but I'm good. I'm in the middle of my own big deal, building a life, not theirs.